What's up guys, macadii here, and today guys, week 2 of the DSL off-season, where I am up against Imperator Taipei, coach of the Alemannia Archen. So if you guys are excited, don't forget to leave a like down below, I would really appreciate it. We have got Diggersby coming again this week. I absolutely love that mon, it's so underrated in Draft League, and yeah, I'm really excited to use him again. So what we're going to do, as always, is run through what he could be bringing, what we're going to be bringing to answer all of his threats, and then finally go into the match from there, and you can see exactly what happens. So he has got Azelf, Thundurus-I, Froslass, Garchomp, Tentacruel, Houndoom, M-Heracross, Seismitoad, Metagross, Audino, Eelektross, and Granbull. So 12 mons in total to prep for. It's always a little bit harder when they've got more mons than you do, but that's how it works with the point system. And the other thing to note as well is the fact that, like, I've got a lot of good speed. Like, I've got lots of base 100s, 108, 109, but there's things like Thundurus-I that speed ties my fastest mon, and also Azelf that outspeeds everything in my team. So that's something that's going to be very scary. So in terms of my prep, there were a few ways that I decided to tackle that. First guy was definitely had to be Diggersby. There was no way Diggersby could not come this match, because when you look at his team, Adamant, I can run Adamant with a Choice Scarf, and that is guaranteed outspeed his entire team unless there's a Choice Scarf on one of them. And even then, you know, I can potentially outspeed like Scarf Metagross and Scarf Seismitoad is unlikely, so there's no point putting extra speed in to try and outspeed those. So the main plan there was just to be able to outspeed his entire team. He has very few switchings to return. His only switching to return is Metagross. If I go for Earthquake, it's only going to be once there's no other Pokemon left, because Return hits everything else neutrally and hits it very hard. And, you know, it could put off Metagross coming in. And we've got Azelf and Thundurus-I that are both Levitators, and also Eelektross as well. So, it's, you know, we don't really want to go for Earthquake that much. U-Turn allows me to basically switch out, which is going to be really nice, get the initiative, and still hit really hard. So that's pretty good. And then Ice Punch allows me to pop the Garchomp, and yeah, mainly the Garchomp just in case. Like, I didn't really know what else I could really put on there that would be particularly useful, so I thought that was probably the best way to go from there. And we've got 48 in HP, as I said, enough speed to be able to outspeed the entirety of his team, with 252 and Adamant in attack, so we're hitting 460 attack, which is just absolutely insane. Next, we've got the Thundurus, which is going to be basically designed to pick off most of his team. I've got enough super effective moves on this guy to be able to hit everything, pretty much everything super effectively, which is really nice. I've got Him Power Ice, which allows me to hit Garchomp, and then I've got Psychic, which allows me to hit M-Heracross if I don't want to go for Hurricanes. I can also then hit the Tentacruel hard. I can hit that's gonna be the main ones. We've got Heat Wave for the Metagross, and also I guess Froslass if that decides to come in. And then finally Hurricane hits everything else as well. Probably the only most reliable switch there is Eelektross, and I can wear down Eelektross. I've got a few electric communities here, so you know, I'm not massively worried about that guy. And basically this guy's designed to outspeed a lot of his team, make him have hard choices. You know, does he switch out into a wall? That then I might potentially have that coverage move. He's basically got to try and scout to work out what, you know, could potentially wall me. And the only thing I think is there is probably the Audino. Next, we got the Helios with the Life Orb. Same sort of thing, actually. We're bringing basically two speedy mons to just try and whittle the guy down, and allow Diggersby to come in and potentially sweep with the Volt Switch, Grass Knot, Him Power Ice, and Thunderbolt, which allows us to hit everything pretty hard. We're Speed Crep for Garchomp, if I remember rightly, because everything else naturally outspeeds us. And this is where it becomes a little bit tricky, because Azelf's now a big threat, because while Diggersby can outspeed, I can't switch it in. Thundurus can take a hit from an Azelf if it's non-Life Orb, but if it's Life Orb, it could be a little bit iffy. It doesn't get Ice Beam, it only gets Him Power Ice, so that actually makes my life a lot easier. So it's just making sure I've got checks to Azelf. That's basically the main thing. We've got the Nidoqueen with the Life Orb. This was a tricky one, so I wanted to bring Walls for this game, but then I saw M-Heracross, and M-Heracross is great, like a fantastic wall breaker, and a lot of my team like Miltank, you know, my premier walls, which in this situation, like Miltank would have done really well, but I was like, if he decides to bring M-Heracross, which I didn't know if it was going to be likely or not, because I've got Jirachi that outspeeds and kills, Infernape outspeeds and kills, Thundurus outspeeds and kills, Mence could potentially outspeed and, you know, and kill with Fire Blast, something like that. I've got, you know, loads and loads of ways basically to be able to kill him, and the only thing that he outspeeds is the Pangoro and Gourgeist, and Gourgeist can potentially wall it as well depending on its set. So it was like, I don't really see it coming, but On the other hand, I can't not prep for it, so I've sort of semi-prepped for it. So I've got max HP on this guy, basically designed to be bulky, but I can still hit hard with the Life Orb, with Earth Power, Stealth Rock, and Sludge Wave. Sucker Punch allows me to take on the Azelf 1v1, so I've got checks to Azelf, like I can outspeed it, I can Sucker Punch it, so I don't have to worry about it as much, and still hit pretty hard, and I've got a decent amount of speed creep to outspeed max speed Metagross, which means M-Heracross still would have to put a decent amount of speed investment. And as I said, the next fastest thing is Pangoro on my team, so it would make much sense for him to bring max speed M-Heracross if he did decide to bring it. Next, we got the Gourgeist, which is our Gourgeist Super. This is our physical wall designed to take on Garchomp if it's Scarf Chomp. It allows me to take on the Metagross, basically any physical Pokemon on his team, which is really, really nice. We can just go toe-to-toe with quite a few of the different things, so that's kind of the plan, and it's also my best check to, a defensive check to M-Heracross as well. Like, I do get KO'd, potentially by, Pin Missile, but, so I can predict around it. Like, he can't go for CC, and he can't go for Bullet Seed, so most of the time he is going to be forced to go for Pin Missile, so I can just basically play around that, and as long as I'm on my prediction game right, I should be okay. Then we've got the same sort of thing as the Nidoqueen going on. We've got a bulky but slightly speedy Mega Blastoise, which allows me to outspeed the Metagross, but and anything else underneath there. We're Scald, Ice Beam. We got Toxic on there because I know Audino could be an issue, depending on what sets, because I haven't actually got a really, really reliable way to smack it. I know Diggersby Turkios most of the time, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but I want just another way to be able to check it, and Toxic seemed to be the best way to go, especially when Scald and Ice Beam hit most of his team really well. The only other coverage would be like Dark Pulse, but that would be for Azelf, and I don't really need that, to be honest. Like, Scald is still hits really hard, and I think Toxic overall made the most sense. So what we're going to do now is go into the battle, and you can see exactly what happened from then. Okay, so we are at the battle, and as you can see, he decides to bring the Tentacruel, Garchomp, Metagross, the M-Heracross, which, as I said, I was not really expecting, so I was a bit like, darn, hopefully that won't be max speed. Then he's got the Audino, and finally the Azelf. So all of the really big threats that I was like, luckily I've prepped for, but still, like, it's scary when you pick the top 6 big threats in this team and then he decides to bring them. So I knew this was going to be a rough one. So I decided to go and lead off with my Diggersby, because if he leads off with Azelf, if it's Sash, I can U-turn out and all of that good stuff. I can take a Scarf, any hit from it as well. So if needs be, I can just do that, U-turn and just kill it. So that's pretty sweet. So out comes Tentacruel, and I debated for a while. I was like, ooh, do I go for the EQ? Do I? He might think that he's going to outspeed me because he is speedy, and can actually speed creep a Diggersby. But on the other hand, if he decides to switch into Azelf here, which he might not do, like, what do I really do, basically? So I decided probably the best bet, he could be scared out here, so I am going to go for the U-turn. I want that initiative. So I do go for the U-turn, and unfortunately I do get the crit, but then also he does decide to stay in, and considering Earthquake could have Oko'd, that was a bit of a mistake on my part. Now I go into Blastoise here because it's my best bet to take a Scald, but then I kind of realise actually there's not a really reliable way I can take this guy on. So I do go for the Scald here just to wear him down because he doesn't have an item, so that's pretty sweet for me, and I'm, fishing for burns here, but he does throw out a Toxic, so that's a real pain. So I do decide to switch out here, go into my healer list, just in case he decides to go for a Scald and be cheeky again. But anyway, I go, I take the Sludge Bomb on the chin, I can take that fairly well, and I can basically get a Volt Switch off there for free if I want to. So he goes into Audino, I go for the Volt Switch, get a decent chunk, basically showing this is specially defensive. So now we can go into Diggersby and we can smack stuff, so that's absolutely beautiful. Out comes the Heracross. Look how much damage this does. This is unboosted. This is just adamant Diggersby. I decided just to go for another one because even then Metagross is still taking a decent chunk of damage, and that's a nice bit of damage which will make my life a lot easier. I've got Gourgeist. I show the cheat. It shows the choice band, and that still does nothing. Gourgeist just doesn't care at all. So that's really, really good for us. And I can basically throw out a free Will-O-Wisp here, which is really, really nice. So now this Tentacruel has no recovery, and I'm slowly whittling it down like that. He makes the switch out here into Garchomp as I make the switch out into Nidoqueen. This was a really tricky choice. So I calced it. I knew I could take a hit, and I needed some damage on this guy, and I was like, oh, I really want to go into Thundurus, but I don't want to take a Dragon Claw. I need to try and work out what he's going to do. So he goes for Earthquake. I can take it. It's not ideal. He goes for Earth Power, and I do a lot less than I expected. So this is very, very bulky, very, very tanky Chomp. So I switch out here, go into my Gourgeist because I know I can take it on, as he does reveal he is fully defensive. But that's fine by me. Gourgeist really doesn't care that much. He does miss a Toxic though, which is pretty huge, and I do apologise again for that hacks, because getting a Toxic on Gourgeist would have been really, really nice for him. So I'm going to switch out here, go into Nidoqueen in case he decides to Toxic, and then I can basically go for Sucker Punch, just get a little bit of chip damage off, and go down to the Rough Skin Rocky Helmet there. So he doesn't get a kill, which is nice for me, and I get a free switch into my Tornadus. So I get the Hidden Power Ice off here. No point in over-predicting really, because I outspeed everything else. I can break Azelf Sash just if needs be, and I can always take a hit from that, potentially from there. Out comes Audino. I just decided to switch out here, go into my Blastoise, so I want to see what he's going to do. He just goes for knockoffs. That's interesting. You know, I guess like a bulky Audino just to try and get rid of my items, which I think, is fair enough. But I decided to go for a Toxic because I really want that Toxic on Audino, but unfortunately he does go into the Tentacruel, so I am going to have to suffer more damage on my Blastoise, which is a real shame, and he gets the crit, so unfortunately Blastoise is kind of dead at this point, which is a shame because of that Toxic, but we're still looking pretty strong. Like, Diggersby is looking pretty fine right here. And I just reset the match by accident. Let's just go back to where we were. I'm so professional. Okay, so that's it. So he gets a Sludge Bomb, we die, and then I decide to go into my Diggersby, and basically I decide to go to Diggersby because I can basically get free return off. If he goes into this guy, I can potentially EQ if I want to. I can just basically just do what I want to do. Out comes Audino, I just go for U-turn, get another crit. I do apologise for that crit, and go out into my Gorgeist just to see what he's up to. He does go for knockoff again, and I didn't want to stay in because I knew the knockoff was there, and I knew I needed my Scarf. My Scarf on my Diggersby was my win con. If I lost my Scarf, Azelf could just run through my team, and I was going to be in a lot of trouble from there. So I did need to keep my Scarf around, so that was the main reason I decided to U-turn out there. So I get the Will-O-Wisp off on Audino, so that's nice. We're getting some damage off, and I can basically just keep throwing out these Willows here in case he wants to switch into something. So he goes into Azelf, and we get the burn on the Azelf, so that's great. So the Sash is broken, Wish wasn't passed, so that's really, really nice. I just go into Helios here, just basically sack it off, because I need to try and work out what set it is. He doesn't show an item here, so I'm not too sure what he's going to be. So I decided to go into Diggersby, I can just U-turn out, no problems at all here, and keep the momentum going. So I just U-turn out, and I can go back into my Tornadus and throw out a Heat Wave, because the Audino being burnt and also being fairly low, it would, be quite useful. He goes for Psychic here, revealing that he, I'm not exactly sure what he is. He might have been Psychic Belt or Psychic Plate or something like that, because it did a little bit more than I expected. But I knew because he wasn't Life Orb, and the fact that I knew he wasn't Life Orb, and from the damage, the 56% to Heliolisk, that he wasn't Specs. So I knew Tornadus could take one hit, and I just go for Heat Wave here. So Heat Wave was a weird choice, I must admit, because I could have gone for Hurricane, but then I didn't want to miss, and I knew I could, first of all, I could take a hit. Azelf would lose Life Orb, I could then go for Heat Wave, then from the, I could go for Heat Wave, he would go for Psychic, I would go for Heat Wave, and basically from there the burn would whittle him down to a point where I don't really have to worry, and if he Scarf, Diggersby can take him out, or I can go into this guy and just Shadow Sneak and pip him off from there. So it made sense to do that because it was much more of an accurate move, rather than risking it all with the Hurricane. So he goes for the Psychic here, takes me out, and there you go, he does die to 2 turns of burn, that's it. So now the Diggersby is out, and I can just fire off some returns here, and I thought this was the end of the game at this point, because I could fire off returns, literally, return, double kill Audino, it can't Wish Protect on me, with me doing 67%, which is just crazy, considering how bulky this guy is, and the fact that his Heracross, is at 20% HP, but he shows off the Trick Room here, and I was like, okay, I see you, that's interesting. So I was like, my best bet is just to click return here. Like, there's no other reason not to. I can still kill this guy. He can knock my item off if needs be. I might even then outspeed the Mega Heracross, depending on its speed investment on the Trick Room. I've also got a pretty much max HP Gorgeist in the back, so I can burn the Mega Heracross and stall it out. So I'm absolutely fine. So he goes for Healing Wish here, and I was like, oh my goodness, that is terrifying, because now the Heracross is back up to full, and he might actually outspeed me. So he does Mega up here, and he goes to the Pin Missile, and he is able to take me out here. So I was like, okay, it's not looking good. It's looking pretty scary here, but we've got the Gorgeist. What we can do here is we can burn it, and then he only does like 25% to me with, whatchamacallit. Anyway, so I go for Willow here, and he pulls the sub out. So this is like, my mind was blown here. There were so many things that aligned in his prep, which is absolutely fantastic. Like, there's the comeback king right here, definitely. But considering the fact that, he had the sub on Heracross to avoid the Gorgeist burn, he also had the, Trick Room plus Healing Wish, plus then going into Mega Heracross being able to sub up and stuff like that. So yeah, that was really terrifying, and unfortunately, I do try and go for this just in case there's a miss. Like, even then, it's still unlikely I'm going to win, but it made the most sense for me just to keep trying and keep fighting, and hopefully I win from there. But unfortunately, we do get the loss here. There was no way I could have prepped or expected that. I played how I wanted, you know, how I should have played, and it was just unfortunate that there was that. Imperative had that little backup in his, backup card in the back of his pocket that I couldn't have predicted, and he's able to pull through the win from there. So that was an absolutely fantastic game. I hope you guys did enjoy, and yeah, shout outs to that. That prep was absolutely insane. But anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, and I will see you guys next time. We're 1-on-1, so we're still, still got a good chance. There's 5 weeks left, something like that, so we can still pull it back from there. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys later. Macadii out.